Hello, fellow human! Welcome back to another Dank Doggo / Entitled Parents videos. Do you guys own a bike? Have you ever got your bike stolen? The first story by /Puff Manao, yeah. Kid finds a bike in my backyard, mom goes berserk when I take it back. FAQ, I'm the father, as in male. We had potatoes with peas and carrots with sausage for dinner. Yes, I'm a male that knows how to cook. The bike will never be left unattended outside. Yes, I have a sturdy log. I located and took a picture of the serial number. Backstory, I'm a single parent. I have a beautiful girl that's turning 5 in August. The past year I've been fighting with ex that try to keep my kid away from me. Lawyers aren't cheap and being single doesn't exactly help with my finances. Couple of months ago, I won the lawsuit and I finally got to have my kid at my home again. For the past few weeks, she was saying that she wanted a bicycle but still recovering from the lawsuit bills. I wasn't able to afford it. Past weeks, I got my summer bonus which finally gave me the financial boost I needed. So yesterday, I finally was able to buy my little girl her bike she wanted so badly. I enjoyed my time with her riding our bikes, but then it was getting time for dinner which I still had to make. So we head back home and park the bikes in the backyard. We go inside and I start making dinner. After about 10 minutes, I spot movement in the corner of my eye through the kitchen window that's on the side of the house. I see this kid, guessing 6 or 7 years old, just casually strolling by with the brand new bike I just got today. My head dropped and I run to the front door hoping I'd catch him before he rides away. I was lucky I did. I yanked the bike out of his hands and freaked out to him, saying it was mine, and he had no right to just walk into other people's backyard to take things. I was pissed. I forced him to get the duck off of my property and set the bike inside my front halfway thinking it's over. Boy was I wrong. After comforting my little girl that never saw me this mad, poor thing, I returned to the kitchen to continue making dinner. 15 minutes later, doorbell rings. It's the kid and his evil mother. You give my boy this bike back. He found it. It's his. Me. He found it in my backyard. I got it for my kid today. You should try teaching your damn kid some manners. He shouldn't be trespassing on other people's property to take their things. Don't tell me how to raise my kid. Give me the bike back or I'm calling the police. Me laughs. Call the damn police! And I slammed the door in her face. By this point, my 4-year-old is crying her eyes out and I get to comfort her again and she's thinking she's losing her brand new bike. Her sobbing finally over and I try to continue making dinner yet again. Preparations done, I'm about to put it all on the stove. Doorbell. I flipped out, stormed to the door, violently opened it, getting ready to just explode into the tramp's face. Guess what? She actually called the cops. I instantly calm down when I see it's the police and invite one of the 2 officers inside while the other stays with the evil woman. I explain the situation and show him the box the bike came in along with a receipt that has my name on it. He shrugs and apologized for the inconvenience and assured me that I won't be bothered again. I let him out and close my door with a smug smile on my face. I check out the front window to see what's happening and I see her go into full tantrum. It ends with her into handcuffs and on the backseat of the patrol car. Bye, Felicia! Don't know what happened to her and I don't care. I finally finished dinner and my kid still has her bike. That's all that matters to me. Boy, what a day. Oh, that is really messed up. The entitled mother encouraged her kid to just straight up walk into some stranger's backyard and steal their things. OP did amazing by standing his ground against that trash. We have here the second story written by /Clean T. M brings along her kid to work unannounced. Background, my company sets up a booth at a carnival and we engage several part-timers to assist at the carnival. The part-timers are required to go around the carnival ground to distribute flyers, share information, and direct visitors to our booth. The story. On the day of the carnival, after setting up, I met with the part-timers to prepare them for the day. Out of all the part-timers, only M was late. She mentioned she'll be 15 minutes late, but it was closer to an hour. As we couldn't wait, I briefed the others and deployed them for the day. When M arrived, she had her kid in tow, 5 to 6 years old. Due to the job nature, we can't have her lugging her kid while working. M knew this. My husband couldn't handle kid, so I had to bring her along. Me, well, I can't have you working with your kid. It's not my problem. If you don't like it, get someone else to watch over him. My colleague, C, who was watching this unfold, offered to watch over her kid. He was only required to help out during the start and at the end of the carnival, so was entirely free during this event. I thought, alright, since he was free, C, I can watch over and get her some food, watch some shows, and play some games, but you'll need to pay me. M, whatever, but I'm not going to pay for your time, only for the kid. C, grinning, sure. I was flabbergasted. C told me not to worry, he had a plan. Once M started working, C bought M's kit systematically through every single booth throughout the entire carnival. It was the kid's dream come true and, I believe, her best day ever. Whatever she wanted to eat, C bought. She saw a lot of the shows and won many prizes. Since C had a staff pass, he didn't need to pay for the shows, only for the kid. At the end of the carnival, when we were clocking the hours worked, M had the nerve to insist to be paid in full even though she was late for almost 1 hour. She said that because of the various reasons, mainly due to the kid, and she would have been early. She was ranting and I don't really pay any attention. I was tired and I don't decide on the pay. But it was about how I will never understand as I don't have kids and how she deserves it because she was a mother. My manager nearby winked at me and took over, and he said he was very pleased with the day's sales and how we're very supportive of her and we should give kids the best. He told us not to worry about the hours we worked and M will be paid in full. After hearing this, not even a single thanks from M, she declared in a loud voice, "At least someone understands." She had this condescending and victorious look on her face. Thankfully, it didn't last long. The sucker punch for M was that M's kids spent roughly $100, and with M's pays at $15 per hour for 8 hours equals to $120, she made a whopping $20 for the whole day. She made it a point to keep track of the expenses, the receipts, tickets, stubs, etc., and took tons of photos. Of course, M threw a fit, but with the amount of evidence and her daughter vouching for all the fun she had, M had no case except to yell, "I'm not paying for this," and grab her daughter and stormed off. We look forward on the payday when we issue her a check for $20, after subtracting the amount her daughter spent. Well, this is really smart. A petty revenge against M, and a kid was having the best day of her childhood? Nice! Next up, we have the third story shared by u/Darkstar-Let-Lol. My husband is in the army, so your house is mine now. A few disclaimers before I start. So where I live, there's a small army base and around it is a housing estate where the families live. Part of this estate was sold to a couple of housing associations and I live in one of those. The army families move around a lot, so people in those houses generally move every 2 years or so, some a little more frequently, others less so. There's a row of 4 terrace houses directly across from me, and one of them was empty, ready for new tenants. Here's where we begin. I took my daughter to nursery and then went shopping for some new clothes. This was at 9 a.m. I get back about 11:30 a.m. and I see a large moving truck in the street. To avoid them, I go to the other side of my property. I suffer from chronic anxiety and tend to avoid most people. I go into the front door and take my new clothes upstairs to sort. While as I'm there, I hear a noise from my back garden and door. Looking out the window, I see a man with a large toolbox trying to open my back door, and a woman behind him looking furious, and the guys from the moving company standing around with boxes looking bored. I run down the stairs and open the door, meaning the guy, who I guess was a locksmith, practically fell through the door into my kitchen. He was surprised, of course, and after looking around, he was confused because clearly someone already lived here. The woman then signs dramatically and thanks me for finally turning up because they've been there since 8 a.m. trying to get in. She just wants to get her stuff in so she and her kids can sleep. She waves the moving guys forward and then goes to get her kids out of her car. I'm busy trying to stop the moving guys from coming in with boxes, and her 2 kids, about 3 and 6, come charging into my garden. I've got a slides, a swing, small trampoline, and Wendy's house there for my daughter to play with. I yell at them all to get out of my garden and stay away from my house. One of the movers looks into the window to my living room, sees all of my furnitures in there, and he waves his teams back to the truck. His team leaders pulls out some paperwork and begins going over it. The woman starts yelling at me, telling me I was a liar. What? and a thief, among other things. I've lived in this house for 4 years, and I tell her such, but she's having none of it. She gets right up in my face screaming at me. And I'm having trouble not bursting into tears and running away or decking her. The locksmith tries to calm her down, and she starts having a go at him next. I call up the local police station office. There's one in the housing estate, but it generally only caters to the army people and such. I figured calling them to deal with her was the best solution. They arrive after a few minutes and take the woman's aside. Her kids are still playing on my daughter's things, so I tell them to get off and go to their mother because those toys don't belong to them. They go reluctantly, and when their mother notices, she begins yelling again. Apparently, those toys aren't mine? What? They were put there by the army for her kids because her husband is such a wonderful soldier. That this is her house? What? And I'm just some squatter trying to steal it from her. This is when the movers come over and tell her this is the wrong address. She's moving into number 4 and this is number 14. She goes very silent, grabs her kids and leaves the garden. I call out to ask her if she's going to pay for the damage done to my garden. Grass torn up by her kids and the movers, my door from what looks like footprints trying to kick in, and the scratches from the locksmith. My bushes by the gate, movers and her yanking at them while I was waiting for the locksmith. She tells me no, because she's done nothing wrong. Which is when I inform her that I have cameras installed that would have seen the whole thing. I asked the officers if they would like to view the footage, and one of them watches the whole incident take place once I bring out my laptop, which both cameras are linked into. And he says that he doesn't have anything to collect the footage just now, but he will come back later to get it. He also tells me that he will have to report the woman's behavior to the base, as the family's bad behavior can have repercussions for their soldiers too. It's now 5 p.m. and the officer was here collecting copies of the footage in case it was needed. It might be shown to certain army officials as an example of her behavior. Husband turned up about an hour ago, and there was a huge argument across the street. Everyone could hear it, but not exactly what was being said. Either way, this family hasn't had a good start to their time here. I can only hope that they move away soon, so I won't have to deal with that woman again. Well, no compensation for the damages, not even a single story. Good luck with all the repercussion then. Moving on to the 4th story, shared by u/Chipotito. Entitled family arrives late to the restaurant, demands Wi-Fi, and insults my great-grandparent. They ended up paying 20 times the price of the menu. First, have in mind that this story takes place in the north of Spain, Austria, and therefore I will try to give the necessary context so the cultural barrier is as little as possible. Second, that this is my first post in this community. Third, I'm Spanish, so please forgive me for any orthographic. Now let's get started. First of all, I will give out some context. This took place a couple of years ago when I was 17, and I used to spend part of my summers helping in my grandpa's restaurant. The restaurant was located in the bottom floor of our family's house in a little village around like 30 inhabitants. And my great-grandparents, the parents of my mom's mom, live in the upper floor. The restaurant, my great-grandparents and my grandma were in charge of cooking, and my great-grandparents and granddad were in charge of attending the tables. It was kinda small, as it had like 8 tables of 4 on the inside, and we could set another 2 outside if the weather was good. As the restaurant also served as a bar, it was filled with the locals, and as many of them were retired, they used to spend the whole day playing cards and drinking beer or wine. So although it was a small location in summer, usually was full of people. Also, please have in mind that my great-grandparents founded this restaurant in the year of 1941, therefore it was well known and had a good reputation among the locals. I'm also proud to say that my great-grandparents were also very loved in their community, as they really were great people. Although it was a quite remote place, in the summer we used to get like 4 or 5 groups of tourists per week, and the rule was that my brother and I were in charge of serving their tables, as we were the only ones who knew any other language than Spanish. Our opening hours at the time were from like 12 to like 20:30. But in the kitchen was only open from like 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. and from like 7:30 to 9 p.m. We only served one menu, composed by a starter, 2 main dishes, dessert, and a cider water like 10 euros. So now to the story. For convenience, I'll use the following abbreviations. M, entitled mother. EF, entitled father. SK, spoiled kid, 7 years old. GGP, great-grandparent, and me. It was around like 4 p.m, therefore most of the customers had finished eating and were chatting over a cup of coffee or some liquor. My grandparents and great-grandparents were still eating as they waited until everyone was finished. Therefore, my brother and I were in charge in serving tables just in case anyone wanted something else to drink. Suddenly, we hear a car outside, and I can hear a woman loudly speaking in English. As soon as they enter, this happens. We would like to have a table. X from the Y Hotel told us this was a great place to eat. Me, I'm sorry ma'am, but the kitchen is already closed as it's kinda late. Yes, it's late because we got lost in this damn road. Is it so difficult to put proper signals? Also, we have a little kid that is hungry. Me, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Let me check if I can do something for you. I then went inside and explained the situation to my grandma, who told me to attend them as everything was already prepared and it would be just heating the food. Well, are you going to give us a table or not? If the kitchen is closed, how is that those people are eating? Pointing at my grandpa's. At the moment, I thought she was behaving like that because she was kinda hungry, and I wasn't really used to dealing with rude people as the majority of tourists used to be really respectful. Me, well, those are the owners, so they can eat whenever they want. I said this while laughing a bit. Anyway, I've just asked them and you'll be able to eat too, so please follow me to your table. They follow me to the table and I explain to them that there's only one menu. They give me a strange look, but they seem okay with that. I serve them the bread and put a bottle of water on the table and they start devouring the bread. So my they were a bit rude because they're hungry theory seemed to be confirmed. As soon as I bring the soda, entitled father demands to have the Wi-Fi password. Entitled father, hey, we have seen that there is a Wi-Fi network. Which is the password? Me, yes, there is one. However, the Wi-Fi is for the staff personal use. We had a measured and a really slow connection that had like 5 gigs of data, which my grandpa used for checking some newspaper, and my brother and I used for sending WhatsApp to our friends. Entitled father, that is bullcrap. We're a paying customer and we deserve to have access to your Wi-Fi. Yes, our little angel wants to watch some videos and we don't have any kind of internet access here. Sorry, but as I've said, it's for personal use. That is not right. This would be unacceptable in America. Me, well, I'm sorry to inform you that we're not in America. The entitled mother tells something to the SK, and then he starts running around the restaurant, stomping his feet and shouting. My great-grandparents comes to me and ask me what is happening. I explained the whole situation to him, and he asked me to please translate what he's going to say. Gigi, please lady control your child or I'll have to ask you 3 to leave. Don't you dare tell me how to raise my child, you dinosaur! EF, don't get close to my child, you old creep! By this point, everyone is of course looking with disbelief to these morons. I doubt for a sec, but translate all of this to Gigi, expecting a not really nice reaction. Instead of saying anything, he slowly turns around and asks 2 men who are sitting on the table to take the whole family out of his restaurant. I proceed to explain to the family that if they don't get out, those 2 men, who also happen to be the 2 guardias civiles, like rural police force, will be taking them out. They don't seem to believe that those 2 men were policemen and they refuse to leave until we serve them. Finally, both men stood up, showed their plagues, and asked them, in their best English, to leave. EF and SK finally stand up and leave. However, as they were leaving, the policemen realized that they had parked in front of our garage and blocking it in a zone signaled as a no parking zone. So they decide to ask for their rental car papers while taking a couple of photos and giving them a 200 euros fine for blocking a private property garage. On my behalf, I have to say that I have family in the USA and all the Americans I've met in the USA are really nice people. So please don't take this as an American bashing post. That's the spirit. There are always good and bad people everywhere, regardless of the country. And I have to agree with him, most Americans that I've personally met are really amazing people. That's it for today, fellow humans. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys next time.